Okay.
Andrew.
Oh, hang on. I just have to do one thing. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
going to turn the music down.
Roger.
Roger. Okay.
You can write people's names on the tablecloth.
Okay. Roger. Roger that.
Do we have clearance? Clarence? Okay. We're good to go. Let's do it. It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hi, how you doing? I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, if they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you. Because that's New Orleans, and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar today, we're at the fabulous Wayfair on Ferret Street, which is a couple of blocks down from Napoleon Avenue, where you can enjoy a 4-hour happy hour here every single day, and a brunch on the weekend that extends from sometime in the morning to sometime in the afternoon. I'm not exactly sure what hours they are, but during the happy hour, and this is the key phrase here, half price. Yeah, all the drinks are half price during happy hour from 3 to 7 every day, which is fairly significant. 4 hours worth of half price drinks. And all the appetizers at the bar are half price as well. So thank you for joining us. If you'd like to stick around for the next hour, I've got an incredible bunch of people around here today. Joy Clark is here on her first ever podcast.
My first one.
That's the first thing
Ever.
you ever said on your first ever podcast was my first one ever.
My first one ever.
Is that what you're planning to say?
Yeah, I was.
Okay,
I was
so
like,
congratulations.
I was
Good
looking
job.
in the mirror last
Yeah,
night, and I was
you're
like, "That's
practicing.
going to be
I'm
the
going to say my
one."
first one ever. Well, you know what they say? You never forget your first.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
Is that true?
I think
Who
so.
was the first person in
think
your
so.
life that you remember?
Ooh, my mom.
Your mom's the first person you
Yeah.
remember? Is she still with us?
Yes, she
Where
is.
is
still
she
with-
today?
She's in Harvey.
In Harvey?
Louisiana.
Did you grow up on the West Bank?
I grew up on the West Bank.
Okay,
I grew
so-
up in Woodmere.
In Woodmere.
Woodmere. It's like the
Don't even know where
biggest
that is.
subdivision. I think in the country.
Wow.
It's huge.
Andrew Duhon knows a lot about the country because he travels around the country.
I know a lot about
constantly.
Harvey. I was trying to buy a car on Harvey today.
Just
actually.
today?
Yeah.
You should tell that story.
Superior Honda. Where?
Oh no! Oh no! No,
It's
just
inferior.
this spot on Lapalco that has
Inferior
about
Dodge, actually.
that 10 cars, and I went
I'm
there.
going to make you tell
Yeah.
that story, but
Yeah,
first let
take
me
your time.
introduce Thomas Cole.
Yep.
Thomas, welcome to
Thank you so
Happy Hour.
much.
Nice to meet you. Thomas, when we say people have nothing in common, it's a bit of a misnomer today because we do have a lot in common. You two have a lot in common. Roger Johns and Thomas Cole are both producers of books. We have your books here. Thomas is the author of a book called, what is it actually called?
Standing in the Shadows, New Orleans in Focus. It's actually, one wouldn't call me an author, you'd say photographer because it's primarily a photography book.
So what does someone who puts together a book of photography is called?
A photographer.
You're still called a photographer?
I think
Someone
so.
who writes a book is called an author.
Published photographer, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. You know, it's
Well,
a
let's-
question because people have used that word, but I've never associated with author with photographer.
Well, we have an author here. Roger Johns
That's
is an
right.
author. He's an acclaimed author, and he's what are you, the writer of the year or something like that?
Georgia Author of the Year.
Georgia Author of the Year, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
All right.
Not just some year, but this year, 2018.
Correct.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you're from Georgia itself, from the state of Georgia.
I live there now, but I'm a native of Louisiana. I grew up in Alexandria.
Oh, really? And you moved to Georgia?
By a very long and winding, circuitous route, I did find myself in Georgia.
So how do we get to have you on Happy Hour today?
I have a publicist who lives in Baton Rouge,
Okay.
who knows everything about everything in Louisiana, and
Right.
she was the one that connected you and me.
Okay. Well, she did a good job.
She does an
that's
excellent
a
job
really-
at everything she does.
That's really fascinating to think that we have people with any literary skills or abilities at all listen to the show. I wouldn't have picked that. I would have not picked our average listener as a literary purchaser. Are you selling these books? Are you trying to sell books? Is that why you're on here?
Well, yes, I'm trying to build a readership. I've got 2 out now, and hopefully
Okay.
many more.
So what we're going to do for the next hour is we're going to do readings from these books. Everyone's going to take a chapter. Are they on Audible.com?
They are. You can get them as an ebook, but not as an audiobook.
That's interesting. Have you looked at? Are you interested in that?
That's a decision that my publisher would make,
Right.
not me.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, who's the publisher?
The publisher is Minotaur Books, which is an imprint of Macmillan.
So this is a pretty serious situation here, then.
Oh,
This is
very.
like literature.
No, it's crime fiction.
It's crime fiction.
Yes, I
Well,
think of it
so
as
is-
literature.
So is Dostoevsky, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah, different sort of crime fiction, yes. But I like to think of it as literary, but I'm on the mystery shelf in the bookstore.
So you don't call yourself a literary writer. What would you call yourself? A crime writer?
Crime writer, yes, crime
Is
fiction.
that lower down the sort of pecking order of writers? Do people look down on crime writers if they're literary writers?
That depends on who's doing the looking. I put myself at the top of the heap.
Truman Capote, say, would he look down, or Ernest Hemingway? Would they look down on you as a crime writer and say, oh, the guy's just like...
Well, they're both up there, so they're both looking down on me whether they want to or not.
Technically, we don't know where they are.
Yes, that's true. We don't know where they are. But yes, I would think that I'm outside. I don't know if I want to say up or down, but I'm outside the literary
Okay.
writing space, and I'm in the genre writing space. You know, like there's romance writers
Right.
and there are crime writers, and I'm a crime writer.
Okay. So Andrew just took a look through Thomas's book. Andrew, you want to give us a review?
Yeah, really cool. It's
Good.
It's amazing to me to see someone who is taking what you would call stills and telling a story with just a snapshot. It's really great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Thomas, I see that you have a number of people who have written forwards to your book.
Yes, sir.
Among them, Chris Rose, who is one of the most respected commentators in New Orleans, for sure.
That he is.
And he gives this whole thing, it's a super rave intro here. He says that, well, this is a big deal coming from Chris. He said, your photos tell the story of who we are, how we live, what we love, and how we see ourselves away from the maddening glare of girls and boys gone wild. In other words, pictures that show what we really look like. So, is he really like a friend of yours, or did you pay him to write that? That's what I'm assuming.
I asked him afterwards when I read it and I met him. I said, "Are you telling the truth or are you just exaggerating because, you're doing this for me?" And he said, "No, it's the truth."
So you're friends with Chris?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not friends with
Option
Chris.
3. You didn't
I
pay
appro-
him. You don't know him.
I paid
Why
him.
did he do it?
I paid him.
Oh, you did pay him. Okay.
He's a professional writer.
Right.
I get paid to write as well.
But you said you're not a writer. You're a photographer.
There is some text in here that I composed.
So you did write some stuff.
I did write some things.
Okay. So what did you write in here?
I wrote an introduction, a general introduction, as well as some thoughts on color, because the color is so different than the black and white. I thought it deserved some perspective.
Are all the
And
photos
then-
in black and white? I haven't.
Oh no, it's
this color photos?
it's 65% black and white, 35% color,
Oh.
and the color was so different. I thought it required a preface to introduce it
Nice.
and introduce myself as well. And there's an
Well, this is
afterword that's written that
Okay.
was the result of a long thought process over several months.
When you take a picture of a stranger, do you have to then approach them and say, "Hey, I've taken this picture. I intend to publish it," and like
Good question.
get a sign off or something?
Occasionally, when they verbally agree to, they don't care. There's not many people in New Orleans who care.
No, right? Yeah,
About
Let's face
anything.
it. Well, they don't care about I mean, they're so used to photographers coming here.
Yeah.
Right.
For one reason or another, people have asked me, "Is my picture going to be in a magazine? What magazine are you doing this for?" So
Wow.
I tell them, "No, I'm just doing a book, and who knows if it's going to make it in."
Right.
But do you? Andrew's question is a good one. Do you have to get people's permission? Do they want to be?
In
is there
theory,
a copyright issue?
it depends. It's not a copyright issue, but it's an issue with if you have a full-on view of somebody's face and it's instantly recognizable.
Right.
In theory, one must, in fact, have them sign off on it.
So you need a release before. Did someone publish?
correct, sir.
Did someone publish your book, or is it self-published?
It's me.
It's you. You publish it
Self-published.
yourself. Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. So are you looking to? Would it make more sense to get a publisher, or is it you have more control if you do it yourself?
That's correct.
All right. So you have to listen, Roger. First of all, let's answer the question. Seeing you are an author,
Yeah.
how do we describe Tom?
As
He's a guy who's written a book and got photos in it. So what is he technically called?
I would call him both, author, photographer.
Ah.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's
He-
What do
pretty
you
clear.
say,
He's-
Joy? Okay, we're going to go with that. Author, photographer.
Well, I feel it like to be
Okay.
clear,
Photographer.
he's authored his photography book.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think you can call him an author.
In the publishing industry would call him an author. The people who consume it would think of him as a photographer.
Okay. See, I didn't
So
know.
you both.
Yeah.
So you're a hyphenate. or a double threat.
Like that.
Okay, so would you have a hyphen between photographer and author or a slash?
Slash.
Or would it be photographer or authotographer?
Rightographer.
What's the last one?
Rightographer.
We
Rightographer.
digress.
Rightographer.
Because he's a writer.
Rightographer.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Okay, so Andrew, I think you should tell everybody the story about what happened to you.
Real quick.
Yeah, this
Here-
is a good story. Let's check this out.
Here's my day. Saw an ad for a Dodge Caravan. Really been thinking about a Dodge Caravan in a little touring outfit.
Now he's
We
got
need
a
some more
family,
room.
you know.
That's right.
Space.
No, it's and you know what? The stow and go seats on these Dodge Caravan, they're amazing. Anyway, so I find this great deal in Harvey. I go check it out. Van feels pretty good. Midas next door, where I'm going to check the vehicle out right before I buy it, and the dealership's fine with that. Bring it over there. He tells me all about why Dodge Caravans are the wrong call. I say, I understand, but there's a price difference between the right call and the Dodge Caravan. So he checks it out for me. Great guy. Definitely a straight shooter. Drives it. He says, yeah, you're right. Feels great. Drive straight. Maybe this is your vehicle. Then he plugs it into the computer. And, oh, yeah, got some airbag pings here. What's going on there? Must have been in an accident. But, there's no lights on the dashboard suggesting anything's wrong here. He looks closer at the dashboard and uses his fingernail. Takes off some black paint where the airbag light is. Somebody painted over the airbag light.
How about that?
Yeah,
Now,
so
isn't that almost like an offense, by the way?
it feels pretty shisty, but the truth is, and the mechanic said it. He's like, they bought this thing in an auction. There's no telling whether the auction did it or they did it. Truth be told,
okay.
so
Wow.
Did you tell the guys when you went back there? And said,
Oh, he was right there. I said, look,
wow.
there's paint over that airbag thing. We're out here, so if you want to drive it back to your dealership, and he did so.
that is pretty Stevie
So,
type.
did you buy it?
Good question.
No.
So he's still looking. So if anyone's listening to this and they're selling a what?
Chevy Astrovan is what we're looking for
Chevy
at this point.
Astrovan.
That's the right vehicle.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is for getting on the road with the band and throwing everything in there.
That's right.
But when you're driving around normally, like coming here, do people think you're driving like a soccer mom van, or does it look not like that?
Oh, if I were to get the Dodge Caravan?
Or any of these? Do they all?
Yeah.
They look like?
Well, I think we all remember the Dodge Astrovan. It looks like a living room on wheels,
Okay.
kind of. It's just a big toaster box, but it's kind of got this classic look.
So
which-
it's not a soccer mom type van.
It's not. See,
It's not
the,
the one with
the,
the automatic doors. That
the standard issue band touring van these days is a Chevy Express 2500 van. That's what you see, the white vans generally.
Okay.
That's what bands are touring in. Astrovan, smaller,
that's like a.
and we're
that's,
just
That's like a
we
child
ride pretty
molester
lean.
type van.
Not quite. That's the Econoline. Is what you're thinking.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
this is
Free candy
something-
van's usually an Econoline.
Okay, so this is something a little bit down from the child molester.
Yeah, it can be a bigger. Yeah,
I told
vehicle.
you he was going to say something wrong. Joy.
Okay, so this is a sort of an ugly looking thing to drive around in. This can be your primary vehicle.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
That's
and
true.
yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
but this can be your primary vehicle. So you didn't
It
have.
would. That is hence
be
the Astrovan instead of the 15 passenger because
Right,
that's
right,
a
right,
guzzler.
right. Yeah.
Driving the Rouses and back, you don't need that.
Yeah, right. Because most of the time you're not on the road. Most of the time I guess it's 50-50.
I think that's wrong. I think most of
it's
the time
true.
I
It's
am
the other
on
way
the road.
around. Yeah, it's true. What about something you can sleep in? Like, you know what would be cool?
An Astrovan.
Just the front of an 18-wheeler. That's like the cab.
Huh.
Just the actual truck.
Where do you put
with
the
that-
gear?
I don't know. Well, they got that thing on the back. They got that cab thing.
Oh, I don't
you
think that's enough.
Where the bed is. No, it's probably
Yeah,
not
but then
big
you got
enough.
an engine that's
Be
running
fun,
enough
though, wouldn't
gas
it?
to haul tons.
Yeah. I just think
And
it would be
you're
a
not
great
hauling
thing to
tons.
have. Joy, what are you driving around to your gigs?
I've got a Honda Civic 2005.
So what do you put in there?
I put my guitar amp, my pedal board, my poster, my mic stands, all that stuff.
All that stuff. So that's what you take
clubs
to a
here.
normal gig.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what it takes in my normal gigs.
And do you have merchandise? Do you have baseball caps and T-shirts?
Not yet. I'm working on merchandise. I do have some CDs, but
Okay.
yeah. But
So
not,
what's your
not
CD
like
called?
big stuff. So my CD, I released a single some years ago.
What, a single?
Yeah, it's a single,
Just one
but
song?
it has a couple songs on it. It has a B-side on it.
On the CD. So you recorded a 2-song.
A 45, so to speak.
Yeah, right.
It's 2 songs, but recently I added another song just to kind of boost it.
Make it
but
look like you've got
just
something going on.
Well,
Then it becomes an
it's,
EP.
It's
That's right.
exactly.
Right.
You got the lingo.
Like, so it's called "Come With Me," and
Okay.
it's
Is that sexual?
it's not sexual.
Okay.
It's like "Come Hither," like "Come with me."
Did you think when you wrote "Come With Me" that you were thinking it maybe?
No,
like,
now.
Did
now,
anyone mention that
now,
except me?
Well,
I hope
actually,
someone else has mentioned.
Now, whenever I say the title, like after I
okay.
explain the story, people are like, "Oh, is it sexual?" It's not sexual.
So
It's
everybody
just-
asks that.
Every,
I just
a
like
lot,
that.
a lot
I
of
just
people
like
ask.
that. All right, thank you very much.
It's not just you,
Okay.
Grant. It's not just
So
you.
have you thought about changing the title? Seeing
No,
one,
no.
seeing there's no physical. Is there
Well,
a physical CD?
it's like "Come with me, don't worry." So it's
Even
it's-
better.
It's kind of like
Then the second one, as a sequel, you could have "Come With Me Again."
Oh, you had this guy
Wow,
driving
you
a
were
child
really right.
molester van, you know, and now you get into
you
this.
warned me.
"Come With Me," is that it? You could
This
call
is
it.
going to be the final interview that just
That's
reveals
the
you
best
to
you got.
That's
everybody.
right. This is the end. So how's it? Is anyone buying it?
Yeah, I physically sell it. It's
Right.
it's not on Spotify or anything.
You don't
yet.
have it on Spotify.
It's not on there. It's pretty. It's
How am I
pretty
supposed to hear
aged,
it?
but
I
I
can't
actually
steal
have
it
some
off-
with me.
No, but I mean,
you
if
can't
I-
steal it. You can steal
you
it
can't
from me.
steal it
but
anyway. It's not on
no.
YouTube or anything.
There's some live performances on YouTube.
Right.
So that's even
So
better.
what songs are on it?
It's a song called "Come With Me," and then there's "Another Lonely Night." And recently, I put a bonus track on it just to kind of boost it to
Right.
fundraise for my full-length album.
Okay,
that's
so you're
coming
working
out
towards a
soon.
full-length
Yes.
album. Okay, cool.
Yes,
So
yes.
where are you playing around town?
I have a regular gig at Cafe and Grill on
yeah,
Frenchman
on Frenchman Street.
on Saturdays in the
How is that?
afternoon.
Oh, that's
It's
nice.
I call
Anyone-
it the listening room because I'm a songwriter, so I'm not one to do like a whole set of covers to just get people to come in. So I make sure to set the mood for, hey, you're listening to Joy Clark.
Well, afternoon must be actually pretty good because
It's good.
people are
It's-
more likely to listen to you rather than being
Yes.
totally plastic.
Yes, I embrace afternoon because I'm an afternoon person.
Well, this is the afternoon right now. So what about
Yeah.
playing something?
Sure,
You
I
feel
can
like
play
playing
something.
What are you going to play?
Do you want to hear "Come With Me" since you
Yeah.
talked about it?
Hell
so
yeah.
much?
Do you want us to do any sound effects?
No.
Okay.
Let's see. How am I gonna do?
Do you want to put that under?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I take this out?
You can take them off. Yeah. You just talk about headphones if you're listening to us and wondering what Joy's taking off. Okay.
Come with me, and we can share all our hopes and dreams. Take my hand, and we don't even have to have a plan. So don't worry, oh no, 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 no. No, don't worry, oh no, 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 no. 'Cause we'll make it up as we go. Yeah, we'll make it up as we go. Some may say we are young, oh, and some may say we should know. Oh, but I say this is love. So let's see how far this can go. So don't worry, oh no, 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 no. So don't worry, oh no, 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 no. 'Cause we'll make it up as we go. Yeah, we'll make it up as we go. And we'll make our love as we grow. And we'll make it up as we go.
fuck. That was beautiful,
Thank you so
actually. I
much.
got to say, wasn't it, Andrew?
That
What
was
do you
great.
think?
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Do you
Thank
guys
you,
know
Andrew.
each other?
No, first time.
It's first time
Pleasure.
meeting Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Andrew's guitar as well. What'd you think of Andrew's guitar? Nice.
It's beautiful.
Action's a little
I-
high, right? It's a little
the
tough.
action is high. The gauge is pretty.
It's
thick.
pretty
hard on
so
your
I
fingers.
felt it. It was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a lot.
I have to.
I usually
put some
play
force
slide
on
with it, which you like it to be up,
you need a
but then when
little
you
bit.
fret it, it's like, ooh, that's a lot. You know?
Right. Oh, is this mine?
Yeah, it's yours? Yeah, put those on.
Yeah.
That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
That's
that
cool.
was
Enjoyed
actually the first song I wrote.
Nice.
I was a
on-
freshman at the University of New Orleans.
You were?
Yeah, and I had a crush on somebody.
Who was it about?
And it was about a guy named Brandon. Actually,
Brandon?
Yeah, I've never told anybody the exact
Okay.
name, but hey, it's podcast,
Shout out to Brandon.
right?
Yeah.
You think he's listening today?
No,
Where is he today, Brandon?
I have no idea where Brandon is.
Well, T-Rock can find him probably in about 13 seconds if you'd like to give us his whole
Maybe,
name.
no,
What's
yeah,
his
he's-
other name,
he's
Brandon?
pretty- that's it, Brandon.
We're not saying Brandon who. Okay, so did anything come of it?
For a little while,
Okay, so
For-
that's
for
cool.
a
Did he know
minute.
about the song?
he did know about the song.
Oh my God!
Actually,
I would
I'm not
love-
sure. But
Wouldn't you love someone to write a song about you?
I would.
Roger, come on. What would
Joy
it-
could write a
well,
song.
hey,
Beautiful.
I'm here. Oh, thank you so
Joy
much.
could write a song about both you guys.
I mean, but if you commission somebody to write a song about you, that's not
No,
the same
no,
as somebody
no,
unsolicited
no.
writing
Comes
a
Now,
song.
they have to be
the heart.
inspired by how fabulous you are.
Right.
Like Brandon was.
Yeah, he was a cool guy.
He
for a
was.
while. Yeah.
Who came after Brandon?
Oh,
Is
loads
it
of
alphabetical?
people.
Charles? There's loads of people. I don't know if that's what you
No,
intended
no,
to say
no, no.
exactly. I'll let you have that again. Who came after Brandon?
Oh, it was I don't know. I can't remember now.
Are you in a
Let me-
relationship
let
right
me
now?
sip it. Let me sip. No, I'm not.
You're
I'm
not just looking to
I'm
date
not.
anybody?
I'm just.
Or you're happy to be by yourself?
I'm just actually I just moved into my own place not too long ago, so
Perfect.
just been a life
So-
change. So I'm just gonna focus on.
Where are you?
Writing.
What part of the city are
I'm
you?
in Broadmoor.
In Broadmoor, okay.
I'm
Cool.
in Broadmoor. Yes.
Okay. So did you just break up with somebody or?
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
But
So it's- you're in the phase of, I'd rather be by
it's
myself.
pretty amicable. It's pretty amicable.
I never liked
Yeah.
him anyway.
It's amicable.
Okay. That's good. All right.
It's all good. Thank
Oh,
you.
that is good. All right. So, Thomas, did you grow up in India? Did I read?
No, I didn't grow up in India, but I went there when I was quite young.
From where?
From California.
Okay. What part of California did you grow up in?
Northern California, on the peninsula, south of San Francisco.
Okay. That sounds like a cool place. I wouldn't know.
It was nice, and then
Necessarily went
I
all
went
week?
to Berkeley, and I
Right.
lasted 6 months at Berkeley, and I wanted out, and I left.
Why did you drop out of Berkeley?
I just wanted to get out of the country.
Is that you really hated America?
It wasn't like that. Our culture was so polarized at that point. I mean, this was
Wow.
1969,
Really?
and I'd met a friend of my older brother's who had just returned from India and the Seychelles Islands, and he'd been traveling with some other friend of my brother's who was a fugitive from this country, who later became a psychedelic guru, a fellow by the name of Terence McKenna. And anyway, this friend of...
What? Come on. You know Terence McKenna?
Oh, yeah. He was a friend of...
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Very cool.
can you just go back?
I mean,
a
he's
li-
Terry McKenna to me.
so he's one of your friends. So
He was. He passed away.
he's gone, right?
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So just take us back a little bit to 1969. You use the word polarized, which is a word we hear now all the time.
I've often tried to think, is it more polarized now than it was then? I'm not sure. I think that there was a lot more core issues about which people were going to war over, literally.
What were the two poles at that point?
I mean, there was the war in Vietnam going on, and this country was just like, nuts.
now
Nixon got elected. John Mitchell was the Attorney General, persecuting and prosecuting John Lennon and all these other people who were like spokesmen for the, who were hip and, and out of the mainstream.
So
And I just wanted out. I knew that I was dissatisfied, but my brother called me up and he said, come up to Berkeley. A friend of mine just got back from India. You should meet him. I said, okay. So I drove up, I walk in, and this friend of his is squatting on top of a small wooden table with a water pipe in front of him, smoking some pot. And yes, we all smoked some, but behind him, hanging on the wall, was a Tibetan tanka. And I'd never seen any of these religious paintings previously. And I just kept on looking at it, and I finally asked him, I said, where'd that come from? What is that? And he told me the story on it, and I said, okay. And I kept on looking at it, and I said, thinking to myself, whoever painted this had a completely different way of looking at the world. And I want to see that way. I want to experience that perspective. An
how
alternative reality is how I
Right.
termed it in my mind at the time.
And you're totally high as hell at that point.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
So that's a life-changing moment, and you still remember it.
Oh yeah,
Do you think you would have got there without the pot?
oh yeah. It was the
Would have had
Tonka.
same-
It
you
was
would
the
have had
art.
It was the art.
It was the art.
So, can you describe what that looked like a little bit? The paint?
The Tonka was
Yeah.
it was a Kassar figure, a mounted warrior guardian figure, with all this fiery stuff going on around, and this guardian of the faith, guardian of the faithful, and he's got a spear in his hand and a shield and that sort of thing, and it's just some beautiful thing that was just clouds, all this full of this Tibetan sort of style of art with this one mounted horseman in the center of it.
Wow.
And-
Okay.
And I just thought that it was from it was different. And I wanted to go to where,
So what happened? You got on a plane, or
on my 19th birthday, I dropped out of I went to the university for 2 quarters for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I quit. And I worked the summer at the only job I ever had, and went to India.
Wow.
I flew on my 19th birthday. I landed in London.
On your 19th birthday.
Yes,
What date is your birthday?
September 12th,
September 12th. What year is this? 1969.
70.
1970. Wow. Okay. By yourself.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So you're in London. You get off the plane.
Got off the
And what do
plane.
you do?
There was
How do you know
there
what
was
to
a
do?
friend of my brothers and sisters who had a place in London. Stayed with him for a couple nights. Took the ferry over to the continent. Went up to Amsterdam for a couple days. Got on a train and went to a place outside of Milan called Pavia, where another old high school friend was studying genetics at the University of Pavia because they had such records of the families, and it was all recorded. So, and then stayed with him for 2 days, and got on a train for Istanbul.
Holy shit. That sounds so great, doesn't it? What do you think, Joy? Would you do something like that?
My first flight was to Germany, like my first flight ever. I
Wow.
mean,
It's a
yeah.
long one. Well,
Well, you have to go somewhere.
I'm
That's what- it's not that
But
weird.
I'm just saying.
I mean, you could've gone
I'm
to
just
Chicago.
saying, just
Yeah, Atlanta, I don't
exactly.
know.
I could have gone out. Well, technically it was Atlanta because the connection was Atlanta. But
Yeah. Oh, right. That's true. Yeah.
I'm always one for travel and going places where people don't know me.
What was the first thing you said on the plane when you got on the plane? This was my first flight ever. This is my first
I
podcast.
don't think I said I was more writing. I didn't say too
Right.
much.
Who did you go with? By yourself or with the?
I was alone. I went to
went alone to
Germany
Germany?
alone. Well,
As an experiment?
no, I actually no, not an experiment, please no. I have a first cousin that's German. She's Black American and German. My uncle was in the Navy.
She's Black, American, and German. Is that 3 different things? or
She's Black
2 different
American.
things?
She's
a
African
Black
American.
Okay.
Yeah, she's Black
She's
American.
African American,
Yeah.
and she's German.
Yeah, and
How do you get to be both of those?
well, my uncle was in the military in the 70s or 60s, late
Right.
60s, and
Stationed
he was
in
out
Germany.
in Germany, and he had her, but he never brought her back. But she was adopted by a family, and I got her address
Hang on,
from
what,
my
what?
yeah.
He left
yeah.
her?
Yeah, he didn't bring her back. So
How,
yeah,
how weird is
yeah.
that?
So
Well, why didn't he leave her with her mother?
I don't know the story. I have no idea, but I knew I
What?
had a cousin.
Do we
and-
have her phone number? This is a
no.
pretty weird story right here.
No, it's an interesting story, but
Sure
I,
is.
I always knew that I had a German cousin. I have a love for foreign languages, so
So you speak a bit of German?
ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen. Ja, ich
Okay.
kann.
And how did you learn that? While you were there?
Well, I was homeschooled, so
okay,
when I
things are
took a
getting better and
liking,
better. You were homeschooled
exactly,
on the
I was
West Bank.
homeschooled on the West Bank. Yeah, my dad was a public school teacher. I was homeschooled.
No, hang on.
It's a wealth of things. I know.
That's a
I
real
know,
statement.
I know.
Man, this is getting crazier and crazier. Your dad was an actual school teacher and
Yeah.
didn't let you go to school?
Well, it was one of those choices that they made. It was more of a
Was it a-
spiritual thing. They felt like
What's
yeah.
what? Some sort of religious thing? You mean?
It was more of we feel like God is leading us to homeschool you all, and instead of
Thank
having
God
you
it
on
was
the,
homeschool and not kill you or something.
exactly. I mean,
That's how they kill kids,
they
these
weren't that
crazy people.
crazy.
They say, God was, I heard voices and I had to gas
right.
everybody.
It was just a parental choice, and that's what we did. And
Did God make
and,
the right choice, or was it actually Satan?
it was okay. I mean, I don't know if I would make the same choice, but
Right. How many
Yeah.
brothers and sisters have you?
I have 4. I'm the youngest of 5.
You're the youngest of 5.
Yeah.
And they were all at home being homeschooled.
Yeah, for
you-
some of my siblings went to school for a little while, but yeah,
So your dad goes off to work in the morning to teach kids,
yeah.
and your poor mom has to stay home with
Yeah,
5
she's
kids
a
and
homemaker.
teach them.
Well, at one point it was her teaching, but then we had correspondence learning, so. It was like I was technically in high school in Florida, at a Christian school in Florida. So it was correspondence. It was correspondence before correspondence was cool.
What religion are we talking about here?
Non-denominational Christian.
Non-denominational Christian. I didn't even know you could do that. Did you know about that, you guys?
Yeah.
You can
You did?
you can do it.
Well, you're actually a college professor yourself, right?
Retired.
Retired.
Yes.
Roger.
Right.
From what? Teaching what?
I was teaching business law, employment discrimination law, and international business transactions. All the ultra exciting
wasn't expecting any of that. Say those again. Business law.
Business law, employment discrimination, and international business transactions. All the really exciting stuff.
But how do they get to be joined up? Discrimination and international business relations?
All different courses, right?
yeah, all different courses.
Yeah.
What's the connection between those 3? Just your interest in all
well,
of those?
as an academic, you have a certain amount of freedom to choose the areas that you're interested in teaching and researching. So over a career of 20 years, things can get a little stale and a little boring, so you have to shift gears every now and then. So
Okay.
when one would get a little too heavy, I would set it down and pick up another one that looked interesting.
And then when you went home at night, you'd be secretly writing a book, a
Attempting
crime
to.
story.
Yes, but as I was writing those books, the first one, like a good academic, I was writing what sounded like a textbook, so it was so boring.
Oh, really?
No one was going to want to read it. Even I wasn't going to want to read it.
So how did you teach yourself to write better?
I
You read a lot of Stephen King stuff?
I do. I read. He does some things that are just absolutely amazing, and he's able to consistently do them and very easily do them. So when you see that sort of magic, you want to read those books as if they're textbooks to see. I
learn.
can see what you
Okay,
did.
so-
How did you do it?
So what does he do that makes him so successful?
Well, I don't know that I can diagnose that perfectly, but he is able to draw you into the time and the place and the people very quickly and make you bond with them. And because you know what sort of books he writes, that these are horror books, you know that as soon as you grow to like these people and their place and their time, he's going to pull them apart in a bloody way, one fingernail at a time.
Right.
And it's like passing a wreck on the highway. You can't look away.
That's the trick. So the trick is to establish somebody who you like.
Yes,
And
and
then
then
destroy
challenge
them.
them. Or challenge them,
Right.
yes.
Then what do you? But you're as a crime, so you have to come up with a crime.
Yes.
You have to come up with a bloody murder.
Or something, yes.
So what are these? So what are these books called? Tell us about these books.
Well, the first one is Dark River Rising.
Okay.
They both take place in Baton Rouge, and the main character is a female police detective named Wallace Hartman.
Okay, so this is a Baton Rouge, like a series now.
It is,
You're
yes.
like the Dave Robichaux of. Well,
Right.
she is Wallace Hartman.
Yes,
That's a good
I think
name.
of her that way. Thank you.
Isn't there isn't there a radio reporter, Thomas, on WRKF in Baton Rouge called Wallace something?
Yes, I don't know his last name, but he
It's
is
her. It's a
political-
woman. I'm Wallace.
They are
something.
a political correspondent.
Yeah, they.
don't know.
That's the correct transgender nomination.
2018, Grant. Get on
Get
board.
with it. Okay, so there's someone called Wallace somebody or other. You guys ever listen to WRKF in Baton Rouge?
No, I don't.
No.
Driving around?
Oh.
Wallace Watkins, maybe? Is that it? Watkins? I don't know.
You got
Well,
one.
I
you
thought
should
Thomas
get in
did.
touch with her. Tell
Anyway,
her about her sister
yeah.
in crime.
So anyway, sorry to digress there.
it's
Wallace, so it's a great name, Wallace Hartman. I like
Thank
it.
you.
Has it got 2 N's?
Just one.
Hartman, it's a good name.
Yeah,
you're right.
Okay, so Wallace Hartman is a cop.
She is. She originally
Sorry,
started
Sarah,
out as
what
a.
was the question?
No, you got the name right.
Wallace Watkins. It was
yeah.
Wallace Watkins. Okay. It
Okay.
is Wallace Watkins. Let's call her up.
Yeah.
Okay, so Wallace Hartman is a cop in Baton Rouge. Why did you pick Baton Rouge as the most interesting place in the...
I get asked that question, and I can't remember.
You gotta
The
come up
most
with an answer.
intense 10 years of my life occurred in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I grew up in Alexandria, went to Catholic school from kindergarten through high school, and when I got to college at LSU in Baton Rouge, it was a completely different world. I'd never seen anything like that, and the years in college and in law school and working in between and afterwards were very, very intense. And it changed me as a person. So when I started writing these books, they sort of set themselves there. It was not a conscious decision on my part to do it. It just seemed like, well, these are dangerous stories in a very interesting place. Yeah, this will work. Everything else about the book's changed.
Honestly, I have never heard anybody say Baton Rouge is a very interesting place.
Well,
I've never heard anyone say
have
that.
you spent a lot of time in
No,
Baton Rouge?
no.
It's a fascinating
It
place.
is.
It is.
I've never actually heard anyone say that, though.
But
You're
it's
the
true.
first person I've ever heard say Baton Rouge is an interesting place. I've heard people say it's a place where they go to work, or there's a good restaurant, maybe, and that really barely, actually.
So it's the
But-
first time for you today
Yeah,
as
how
well.
about that?
Yeah.
It's my first.
Perfect.
So do you still feel that about Baton Rouge?
Oh, I do. And if as long as my publisher will want to publish these books, I'll write them and set them in Baton Rouge.
Okay. So the first one is Dark River Rising.
Yes.
And that was, and then what's the next one is called
River of Secrets.
So
Yes.
they both got the word river in them.
Yes.
Okay, so the River of Secrets is the new one that made you Georgia Writer of the Year.
No, Dark River Rising is the book that made me
All right.
Georgia Author of the Year.
Okay, so that's the first one.
Yes,
But I thought you were Author of the Year this year.
I am. But they used the books that were published at the time the award was given.
So they're a year behind in Georgia?
Well,
like Mississippi.
No. No.
I'm from
the
Alabama,
award
where we're
is-
about 20 years behind.
The award is for 2018, but it was for books that were published during the calendar year of 2017.
Okay, is that like the Emmys or the
Yeah,
Grammys?
right,
Is that how they do it as well?
Yeah, there's a cutoff date.
Okay. So this book, the new
Yes.
one, Dark River Rising,
This,
is that
this-
the new one?
This is the old one.
That's the old one. So
This
the
is the
new
first
one,
one.
River of Secrets.
Yes.
That could be a contender for next. So you could be
Could be
next year's
two-time.
Georgia. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Sure.
Could you?
Could. It happens.
cool.
Every
Okay.
now and then.
All right. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So do you get any what do you get for being Writer of the Year in Georgia? You get some sort of a
I got
Roger Johns Day or something?
I got a big, like a trophy, a big glass trophy with my name etched on it.
That's cool.
I got a roll of stickers, gold emblems that say Georgia Author of the Year that I can
All
put
right.
on the books when I
Oh,
sell
that's
them.
cool.
Nice.
I've gotten interviewed several times, invited to various conferences because this has happened.
And
So
does
it's
it make
kind
you
of a cool thing.
more attractive to women?
Well, I don't know because I don't pay attention to that. I'm happily
right?
married for many years.
Big deal,
Awesome
though. But I
answer.
mean,
Great
when you
answer.
go to one of those things, are there bunches of women hanging out,
Fawning over
Yeah,
you.
wanting to get your quote unquote autograph?
Well, there are always women at these events, and I've
Are
never
there?
experienced any fawning yet. But there's a running joke in the Johns household because I do have a lot of friends in the writing community, and many of them are women. And people say, "So where did you meet her?" I said, "Well, in a hotel," because. So I've met all these women in a hallway at a hotel, but it's only because the conferences take place frequently in hotels, and that's where they are.
But
But
these guys are on stage playing, right? So there's always a lot of, there's people attracted to people who.
yes,
who
and
are
in the
musicians.
music business, there's fawning all the time, all day, every day. in the writing business, I don't
Yeah.
think it's not happening to me anyway.
You haven't noticed it. Okay.
No.
Do you have fans? Do you have a fan club or anything?
Well, I don't know if I have a fan club. I have readers, and I have people that correspond with me via email, and I see people a lot of the time at these conferences from time to time, some of them over and over again.
Are you in, so they do follow you around?
Some, yes.
That's called groupies.
Well, no, not stalking, not groupies, just people who sort of, they're readers. I like to think of them
It's a
as
very
readers.
nice way of putting it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool to have like a following, though, isn't it?
It is,
That
yeah.
must be great. Why did you quit academia? Did you just get sick of it, or did you been there long enough to get a pension, or what?
No, I did it. I did it for almost 20 years, and I was. I got to the point where I didn't have the same interest level in it that I did before, and I thought that would be a good time if you're messing around with people's lives, so to speak, as a
Right.
teacher.
Trying to
wanna
inspire
be,
them,
You
right.
want to be fully committed to that. You don't want to hold back anything. So I thought,
Right.
well, it's time to go. So I did.
Do
So
you-
now you're. Yeah, sorry. Andy.
So-
That's being
no, I
very
was-
fair. To
Thank
the
you.
kids.
Well, I've tried.
That's very thoughtful.
Are you in the writing process right now?
Yes.
And are you regimenting the process, or do you kind of wait till it calls you, or?
There's no calling.
Yeah.
There are voices in my head that tell me to do things from time to time. Like in this
Homeschool
book,
children.
in the first book, the main character, Wallace Hartman, was originally a male character, and this voice came to me one day and said, no, you need to have a woman at the wheel in this book. So I changed it, and I joined a women's writing group. They were gracious enough to take me in, and for a year or something, I took lessons on how to write a female character
Nice.
from this group.
What was one of the first lessons you learned?
Well, and I don't want to sound stereotypical, so I want to be very careful how I say my words. But the things that they taught me, which, by the way, changed me as an individual, were that men and women are equally emotional, but women tend to deal with their emotions in real time, whereas men tend to put that off until it becomes explosive. And if you really want to write this character as an authentic character, you need to start thinking things and become self-aware enough that when you have an emotional reaction to anything at any depth, that you're paying attention to that and you're thinking about it and formulating your reaction to it, and instead of letting it drive you when it blows up in your face.
That's
later.
pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
does Wallace Hartman, as a person in a male-dominated world who is a cop, have to tamp that down, that feminine side of herself, to be successful?
Well, no, I have engineered the book in such a way that she is able to deal with these things. So even though it's crime fiction, there is a literary dimension to it because you are in her head for quite a bit of the time.
Hello, I thought you said it wasn't literary.
No, I said I feel that it's that way, although on the bookshelf it's going to go into the mystery section. I feel it's a literary book,
So
but I
you
don't
feel
think I'm
that you're creating
considered it.
literature,
I believe that.
and everyone else just calls you a crime writer. Have
Well-
you thought about writing something that's not crime? That's like a serious...
I don't know that I have the skill to do something that takes me away from this. There's a certain piece of me that feels very, very at home
Right.
writing crime fiction.
Do you? Is there a certain amount of hours a day that you intend to write?
Yes, I get up in the morning and I do the promotion and administrative side of the business. In the middle of the day, I do housework, the cooking, the cleaning, and all of that stuff. And in the evening, when I'm tired, I write. I find that when I'm tired, I do better because the logic part of my brain is a very stern taskmaster, and I have to
Yeah.
wait until I'm tired for that to shut up so I can do something
And
useful.
how long do you give yourself for that span of tired writing, so to speak?
Until
long
I'm
as it
done.
takes, yeah.
So what time of the night do you start?
Sometimes it's 9 o'clock, sometimes it's 2 or 3 in the morning. It just depends.
Wow.
2 or 3 in the morning. That's usually when.
So
Yeah.
tell me,
Is that
how
when you
long
write?
did it take you to write this second book?
9
If this-
months.
9 months.
The
It's
first
very
one took
short.
9 years. The second one took 9 months.
Okay, that's
So how long is the third one knocking off in 9 days?
9
No,
weeks.
no.
9 weeks.
I think 9 months is a good template for me now. I learned a lot doing the first
It's like a
two.
baby. That's 9 weeks
Gestation.
gestation period.
Yeah, right.
Hey, talking of creativity, Andrew, you want to play something?
I'll play a song.
Yeah. What do you... Here we go. All right, hang on. And then when we come back from this... All right,
Was
what's
it
in
was
the
it
bag?
Thomas over there? Is that
Correct.
right? I want to hear. Have you ever taken ayahuasca before, Thomas?
I have not.
Good question, Thomas. Oh, you both called Thomas.
If you were friends with Terrence McKenna, I figured that might be part of the.
I've had DMT.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd love to hear about that after.
Okay.
this song.
Let's talk about drugs when we come back from this song. All right. Good work, Thomas. What exactly is DMT stand?
Dimethyltryptamine.
What do we call
It's
that?
the active ingredient that's part of the ayahuasca plant, and it's
Oh, okay.
extracted in a
synthetic version. of it.
Well, yes, and quite powerful, and
The businessman's lunch trip.
Another drink? Hey,
yes.
Jill.
Sometimes people who take it in a group all have the same experience.
I'm not
you mind
familiar enough
getting
with
another drink?
all of this because groups. I've never done anything with a group.
I've
There was a
actually-
researcher
anything.
at the University of New Mexico Med School who documented aspects of this years ago.
I've never heard of groups doing DMT together. Ayahuasca trips, yes, but not DMT.
Now
I'd be
there's
interested to hear
ayahuasca
that.
tours. You can book for 10 days to go to Peru
Costa
on a
Rica,
tour
Peru,
and
okay.
take ayahuasca.
Yeah. So what is it supposed to do? It's supposed to get you in touch with your real
You know,
self?
one friend of mine who's really an old school hippie, she went to Peru with her husband for an ayahuasca trip, and she didn't even go to Machu Picchu. What are we thinking about here?
Can't you just take the ayahuasca in your house? I mean, why do you have to go to Peru to do it?
Because it's prepared by the shamans
Okay.
and blah, de, blah, de, blah.
So you spent a long time wandering around India, like seeking.
I
truth.
wandered India, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal.
So just get this in perspective. How long were you there for?
16 out of 20 years. Between
16.
1970 and 1990, I spent 16 out of 20 years in Asia. Occasionally I'd come back. I spent one out of the middle of that. There was 5 years straight where I never came back.
So that you must be a completely different person than the person who left. And the person, completely different person to all of us. I'm
You
assuming.
know, my daughter has a photograph of me taken in Kandahar, Afghanistan, southern Afghanistan, when I was 19. And I look at that guy in that photograph and I say, I recognize that person. He hasn't changed that much.
Right.
And that, you know, there's just attitude, a little bit of attitude is that
Was your daughter born in?
in Thailand. Her mother's Thai.
And are you still together with her? Or
No.
So she didn't leave her in Thailand like some people's families.
No.
Left their kids in Germany. So you were married in Thailand, or you?
We were married actually in Nepal. I
Okay.
met her in Thailand. I was doing business in Nepal with the antique carpet and textile trade.
Oh, so you ended up in business in India, despite the fact
I
you're
was
a hippie.
always in business.
You're a hippie from California. You went to India to find himself, and you ended up in business.
I didn't go to India to find myself. I went to India to find a different reality.
to get out of here.
To get out
okay, so
of
you,
here.
You weren't searching for yourself.
I wasn't searching for anything.
You were just looking to get the hell out of America.
Yes.
So that's interesting. So you ended up being a businessman in India.
A businessman in Asia. I
Right.
ended up in Afghanistan. I spent a lot of time in Afghanistan and would come down to India for quote-unquote holiday in the wintertime when it was snowing there.
Right.
And
what business were you in? Textiles, you said.
antique carpets and textiles, correct.
Antique carpets.
Correct.
So you're an Indian rug merchant.
No. Central Asian.
Central Asian rug
The only
merchant.
old rugs that come from India are Mughal rugs, and they're 17th century, and they're like out of this world and expensive and out of my league. I'm a tribal rug dealer.
When you hear about rug merchant people,
a
I always
bad
think
name.
of them. I put them in the same category as the West Bank car salesperson who
Correct.
tried to
That's
sell
right.
Andrew.
That's me.
Is that is that how people think of you, or how you don't think of yourself like that? Obviously.
Well, that's why I call it textile art.
Sounds much better than rug merchant, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, textile art.
And the thing is, I don't have rugs that you would ever put on a floor. I've got rugs. I've got things,
Things you
weavings
hang
that
up.
are put on walls.
So rugs is a bit of a misnomer too.
It is.
I played a gig in Smithville, Texas a few days ago, and there was a shop underneath the venue, and it was just a craft shop, and there were some lovely, woven tapestry-looking things. And it was nice, but then I read the tag, and it said, yada yada horse blanket. And it became vastly more valuable because it's like the blanket you put under it's saddle blanket.
Right,
That's
under
what I
the
mean.
saddle.
Okay.
Like, come on. I want that blanket now.
I've dealt in these things. I've written 2 books on antique Tibetan rugs, and
Would you call yourself an author of?
that's called being an
you
author.
are an author. Okay.
I
So you've written 2 books on Tibetan rugs.
Correct, sir.
What are they called?
What is it?
River of Rugs?
No, Dreamweavers. No, Dreamweavers, and God, what is the second one? It's put out by the Rubin Museum of Art in New York City. I was
Come with
commissioned
me,
to write it.
Dreamweavers.
No, patterns of something. I can't even remember.
You can't remember the name of your own book.
No,
C-Rock will tell you that. In a
I
minute.
was hired to write. I was just a hired gun,
Well, you
and I
had
was.
a pretty interesting life, isn't it?
Very.
Man, alive. What are you doing in New Orleans? Just taking photos, or are you doing something else too?
enjoying the ambiance.
You've made enough money from the textile
No.
business to...
Show me the money. I'm always looking for it.
Okay.
But,
So are you
but not
retired?
here.
Are you retired?
No, but not here. I'm not looking to make money here. I'm looking to do other things
So
here.
this book, I want to talk to you about this book in a minute. Okay, we'll get back to this photography book in a minute because there's
He's
a whole.
gonna play something.
Yeah, Andrew's going. We've got off course here for a minute. Okay, Andrew, what are you playing?
You know, with the effort to continue to always play you a new tune,
Yes.
here's a song. Got together with a songwriter I met in at the Black Pot Festival. You might remember from some weeks ago.
Yeah,
Went to
yeah,
the Black Pot Festival in
Right.
Lafayette, which is like
You learned to
Cajun
dance.
culture immersion, right, for a week. So she's like an old-time player from Washington. We got together and drank too much coffee and wrote this tune yesterday. Let me fix that for you.
Yesterday, did you edit it?
We live on a street that leads to nowhere. Used to be a sign that said dead end. And every day at 5 o'clock we go there, to the leaky pipes and something new to mend. You sweep the leaves from the driveway. I'll try and get the Chevrolet started. It feels like we just go around in circles, but it's a dance that we both know by heart. I've fallen in love with the toiling, falling for my best friend. And in the morning, we'll begin again. There'll always be another winter. Always gonna be more bills to pay. Maybe we'd get bored if it were easier. Have to pack up all our things and move away. Oh, but I love the toy, and I love my best friend. And in the morning we'll begin again. I used to think there'd be a destination, some place that we'd arrive to in the end. But we just pour ourselves a wine, forgive each other for our crimes, and in the morning we'll begin again. Hey, thanks, y'all.
It's pretty unbelievable
your
that you
voice.
can. Isn't
Thanks.
Isn't he the greatest?
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
It's amazing
Thanks,
you could write that with somebody else. It sounds so personal.
Yeah, well, you can't write with everybody.
Right.
I don't know. You don't start by writing. I remember I went to see Anthony Bourdain when he did the thing at the Mahalia Jackson. It was part of it's like a speaker series. There were 3 folks, and David Sedaris was another, and I can't remember the other person. But I saw David Sedaris and I saw Anthony Bourdain, and I kind of wondered what Anthony Bourdain would say, or how this would work. Would there be some sort of MC asking him questions the whole time? He had a microphone and a bead of amber, and he kept us captivated for 2 hours. And one of the things that he said was, people wonder how we get such honest reactions from, or sentiments from the people that we interview, and it's because we don't turn the cameras on right away. We drink beer and we enjoy food and we just talk like human beings, and then we turn the red lights on later, And I think, and when you're co-writing, you got to do the same thing. You sit down, you have some coffee, and you talk about things, and you're not writing together yet. You're paying attention, like maybe
Right.
some of those lines might matter for later, but yeah, you don't make it. You make it human somehow.
But being able to actually express yourself like that and be vulnerable and come up with how you're really feeling about something pretty deep, even if you're making it all up.
I don't know that there's a pound of flesh in there. It's
But
just a little
it's-
folky song, but
But it sounds totally authentic.
good.
it?
Yeah.
Don't you think, guys?
Yeah.
I thought it was beautiful.
Thanks, y'all.
Do you want to play one
I
more
think
before
it's very conversational.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just plain speak.
Totally.
Joy, you want to
Yeah.
play one more before we get out of here?
Sure.
Okay, we're running out of time in a big way, so
Andrew,
Let's do it.
third guest was Garrison Keeler.
That's right. I saw him too.
Oh my God, what a night!
Yeah.
all on the
it
same
was,
night.
No, it
David?
was just a series.
Ah,
You had
okay.
to buy tickets to each of them.
All right.
Okay, Joy,
The song is called "Watching You Sleep."
watching you sleep.
Watching you sleep.
Okay, can we turn that around?
Yeah.
Watching you sleep. It's my favorite thing to do when you're lying next to me. Am I in your dreams? Singing sweet love songs to you in your sleep. Tell me what you're dreaming when you go away. Is there something out there that takes your breath away? I hope it's me that you see. Tell me what you hear when you close your eyes. Can you hear my heartstrings strumming lullabies? I hope you hear how I feel. 'Cause you're so peaceful when you sleep. And I'm so grateful that you're here with me. So I'll just keep watching you sleep. 'Cause it's my favorite thing to do when you're lying next to me. Am I in your dreams? Singing sweet love songs to you in your sleep. La da da, la da da, la da da, la da 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 da. La da da, la da da, la da da, la da 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 da.
Beautiful.
Joy Clark.
Thank you so much.
Man, you are the real deal. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Authentic.
It was great.
That was really beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
That
is-
sounds like James Taylor.
Oh, wow.
That's what I would say. What do you guys think? Who does it remind you of?
Janice Ian.
Janice Ian. That was a good compliment.
Janice
as well.
Ian. You know, I'm not familiar, but
Really?
I'm
Dig
not
in, you'll
familiar
like
with
it.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was that song she wrote? 17 or something it was called? That's 17. Oh, you should hear that song. It's a
Okay.
great song.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you.
You've
you.
got a beautiful voice and you're a great songwriter. And
Thank you so much.
You can really
Thank you.
play and sing. Holy shit. That is
I
quite
can
a
really
discovery,
play.
isn't
I
it?
can
See
really
you down
play.
at the grill, huh?
Yeah, nigga, this Saturday.
Cafe and the Grill on Saturday afternoons. When you say afternoon, what
Saturday
time
now.
is that?
4 o'clock. We usually hit at 4:30.
4:30. So 4:30 to
Which
7 or
is,
something.
say 4 o'clock. Cafe and the Grill opens at 4, but
Okay.
we usually get the music
So you're
started
saying around
at 4:30.
4:30. So we can see
Yeah.
you till 4:30 till when?
4:30 to 7.
Is that outside in the courtyard?
It's a long
No,
time.
no, no.
It's inside.
It's inside. There's
Which one
also
is
a
Cafe
restaurant.
and the Grill? Is it-
Cafe and the Grill is
one on the corner?
right across the street from that dog.
Oh, okay. It's
Like-
there. Oh, that's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
okay.
got the big Bob Marley mural on the back.
Okay, yeah.
On the
Next
back door.
DBA.
Right.
Yeah, next to the
okay.
beer.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
which
so
one it
you can
is.
catch me there. And be
Okay.
I call it the listening room. I try to do most of my original music, and then I sprinkle some covers in there.
So if
but
we don't get there, where else can we can find you online at joyclarkmusic.com?
JoyClarkMusic.com. You can find me there. Instagram at Joy Clark Music.
Ah.
Facebook Joy Clark. You
Okay.
can find me.
Very good. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much for coming down. I hope we get to see you again sometime.
I would love to come back. Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
How
so
did you like your
definitely
first
come
podcast?
back. Sure.
Pretty good.
I will not say no.
Painless.
I
Come
know
on
a lot
back.
of
We'd love
people,
to have
yeah.
you back, wouldn't we, Andrew?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
two
Joe.
gentlemen are welcome to come
love
back
to.
as well, because we hardly
Thank you,
scratched the
love to.
surface of Roger Johns, the Georgia Writer of the Year,
Georgia Author of the Year.
Georgia Author of the Year for 2018, whose books are Dark River Rising and River Secrets, and the new one, River of Alcohol. What's the new one going to be called?
At the moment, the working title is Wallace Hartman, book number 3.
Okay, is it going to have the word
That's how
river?
you save it as a Word document on
Yeah.
your.
I don't know.
I'll come up with a title for you right now.
Probably
River.
I barely know her.
I'll suggest that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does the publisher decide on the title, or do you decide on the title?
I have input. It's something
that's
that
interesting. So the publisher
I
decides.
and the editor I work with at St. Martin's Press,
Okay.
we brainstormed several ideas for a while, and it's
Okay.
just sort of a mutual thing you come to.
Well, thanks for coming all the way down from Atlanta or wherever the hell you live. There.
I had the best time. Thank you
Yeah,
for
it's
having me
awesome.
on
Well,
the
good
show. I
luck
love
in
this.
Baton Rouge. It's the most interesting city I've ever been in. So you're
And-
going to love it.
I will.
I
I'm looking
really
forward
have
to
never
it.
heard anyone say that. I'm really. And Joy's got both of her phones out here now. That's
Yeah.
the weirdest thing I've seen in
There's,
a while too.
this one is all out of memory, so I can't have any
Ah.
apps on here. So I'm
Ah.
tethering from this phone
to
to
that
this
phone.
phone.
You really know what's going on. Okay. And author-photographer Thomas Cole has been here as well.
Yes.
Slash
Thank you
photographer.
so much. Are you coming with Slash? Okay, but he is actually an author because he wrote Dreamweavers and Dreamweavers Come Again. So you still don't
As
remember
I
the
said,
name
I
of the
can't
second
remember.
book.
We don't have
Patterns of
time.
something. I forget.
Something like that. But this book, which I just want to make one point before we get out of here. This book is called Standing in the Shadows. I mean, we make a lot of jokes around here, and we do it a lot, but this book is really cool. It's called Standing in the Shadows, New Orleans in Focus. And one of the things I like about this book, first of all, it's beautiful and has great photos in it. And secondly, it's cheaper if you live here. It's
That's
$20
correct.
if you live in New Orleans.
That's
and
correct.
$28 if you live anywhere else.
$20 in Louisiana.
I salute you for doing that because there's so much of a tourist economy here that we get screwed as New Orleanians for paying more for all sorts of shit because which we can't afford.
This book is
I
the culmination of a
think
lot of
it's great that
things,
you're doing that.
and it's a gift to the people of New Orleans.
Heck yeah.
Thank you. Good job. Now, by the way, just in case you were wondering, Roger, New Orleans is a far more interesting city than Baton Rouge.
Yeah, but there's too many crime stories in New Orleans. You can't base it in an
You couldn't
interesting.
stand out
Yeah,
by being
no.
a crime writer in New Orleans.
No.
Hey, before we get out of here, thank you very much to Basics Swim and Gym. We can get a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout, and yoga clothes with style. Basics Swim and Gym is right next to the lingerie store, Basics underneath on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue. And thank you, too, to Hangover Destroyer, the only all-natural product that's medically proven to prevent a hangover, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, go to the hdestroyer.com website. Write happy hour on the coupon code, and you too can get 30% off of Hangover Destroyer. And seize the dawn. And thank you too to the Positive Vibrations Foundation, who create and encourage community through the development and preservation of the arts, music, culture, and heritage. And if you'd like to be a member of our Patreon family, you can go to patreon.com and search for It's New Orleans Happy Hour, and you too can be a member of our Happy Hour family, where for as little as $1 a month, you get all sorts of free shit. I'm not quite sure what we're giving away, but something you get for free for $1 a month, which you can't do better than that. And we can also, we should have a link to your fan club as well, Roger.
RogerJohnsBooks.com.
RogerJohnsBooks.com.
Yes.
All the best looking young women are there.
Everybody's there.
Everybody's there. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. That's been Happy Hour for another week. Our show is produced by Graham DePonte, Christian Underwood, Monique Pilar, our music producers, and Thomas Walsh is our technical director. Asher Griffith is our Facebook live feed director who put this all on Facebook. If you listen to this as a podcast and you'd like to see what we look like, you can go to Facebook, our Facebook page, It's New Orleans, it's called, and take a look at the Facebook live video. And if you'd like to see photos of us, you can get these photos on our Facebook live page. On our Facebook page, It's New Orleans Facebook page, and also on our Instagram account, and on Twitter, and on all those we're called at It's New Orleans. If you'd like to be on our show and you can sit around and drink alcohol for about an hour, drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com. Our theme music was written by and is being played today by Mitch Foreman. You can check out many other happy hours and other shows we make around here, including Out to Lunch with Peter Asciuti, live from Commander's Palace, and Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tucker, and our award-winning podcast about death called Death the Podcast. You can find all those anywhere you get podcasts. You can find other great Louisiana podcasts as well at itsacadiana.com and itsbatonrouge.la, the most exciting website on the internet. You can keep up with us on a bunch of time-sucking social media, as I told you already, and the photos that were taken, that you can find taken from the show, are on those places. They're taken today by Jill LaFleur, and you can find more of Jill's photos at lafleurphoto.com. If you listen to this podcast on your favorite podcast app, thank you for subscribing to us. Take a moment, if you've got one, to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfair on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting. For itsneworleans.com, for Andrew Duhon and everyone else around here, around the table at Wayfair, back at the office at INO Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. I'll see you back here next week for more Happy Hour.
Venus, your style guide for fun, sexy style, is getting you ready for shorter days and cooler weather during the annual Venus Fashion Week event. The new Venus Fall Fashion Collection has arrived, and it's a perfect time to get amazing deals on new styles that have made Venus famous, from weekdays at the office to weekends on the town. Shop hundreds of new fall styles and get $15 when you spend $100, $30 off when you spend $150, and $50 off when you spend $200 or more. Just go to Venus.com or download the Venus app and use the promo code SWEATER to save during the last days of Venus Fashion Week.